My husband died 2013 October.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Frida React Real. Today we have a crazy story about a Ghanaian woman who thought she had found love with a Germany guy after 2 years of talking online. She moved to Germany, they got married, everything seemed perfect, but little did she know he was hiding a big secret. You won't believe how she found out. Let's get into it.
I want to share my story and as a healing process for me, and also as a lesson to people out there. And just in case I give up, then at least you all will know the story behind why I gave up. Anyway, so I moved to Germany 2012 December, I think a day or two before the new year, and I was married to a German when I moved. I was living in a small town with him, somewhere close to Düsseldorf. It's called Erkrath. That was where I lived. The first 2 months or 3 was so good. I was excited. I had finally joined my husband. You know, he had good energy. We were a vibe together. We know how to chill, how to make ourselves happy and all that. But unfortunately, what I didn't know was that my husband had a problem with alcohol. It was alcoholism. And because we met in Ghana, you know, it was a long distance relationship. We dated for like 2 years before we got married. So out of those 2 years, he gets to come once or twice in a year to Ghana to visit me. And so it's difficult to know that he had this problem, especially when he didn't open up about it. But when I came to Germany, that was when it was hard for him to hide it. So my husband and I, like I said, we know how to chill. And we like to drink beer together. Krumbacher was one of our favorites. But for some reason, and we don't do more than 2-3 bottles, you know. But for some reason, anytime we both take this, he looks so drunk. So at a point, I started becoming very curious. I was like, no, this is not right. So I would go around the house, start looking for places, you know, looking for an answer, trying to find if there was any hard liquor that he thinks that I didn't know of. And surprisingly enough, I found out that he actually does take very hard liquor. And what he does is that when he finishes the first bottle of beer, then he will fill it up with like whiskey, which I would think that we're still both drinking beer. So after I found out, unfortunately, his weakness or his secret, that was when things turned upside down. He became very aggressive, and I also admit that knowing what I know now about alcoholism and knowing that it's a sickness and it's not a choice, I would have handled the situation better. Back then, 12 years ago, I thought it was a choice because I was like, how can an older person be drinking to a stupor? Why? You brought me to this country to treat me this way. You're supposed to be taking care of me. Why? You know, all that kind of things. So I was in shock and I was also very worried because I was very new in the country. We were supposed to make plans together of how I was going to learn the language, probably get into a profession or start working or something. And here I was now babysitting my husband. What I didn't know was that he was actually sick. Like he had from drinking too much, he had so many operations that the doctor had actually given him like a year. If he didn't stop drinking, he was going to die. And he never told me this. Now, something very sad and strange happened. There was one time he felt very sick after he got drunk and was even bleeding. So I called the ambulance and they came to pick him. We went to the hospital. So we live in a very small town called Erkrath. So we had to go to the next town called, I think, Hilden. That was where we went to the hospital. We were at the hospital, we got there, he got ushered in, you know, blah, blah, I was waiting at the reception. Then at a point in time, I think about like 20-30 minutes, I wasn't seeing a sign of my husband anymore. So I became very worried and scared, and I couldn't even speak the language too good. So I just kept going to the nurses trying to ask where's my husband. They all kept asking me, who's your husband? Who's your husband? I said, my husband. I brought my husband here. The ambulance brought him here. I can't see him. Where is it? So I actually thought something bad had happened. Then after I kept worrying them or disturbing them, they finally called the doctor. And then the doctor came in and the doctor was like, who are you? And I said, I'm the wife. And he said, the wife, for patient confidentiality's sake, he didn't want to tell me much. Then he was like, the wife. So I had to even go on Facebook, and then I showed him, yeah, this is my husband. Then he said, oh, yeah, they brought your husband, but we don't see him anymore. And I said, how do you not see my husband? Somebody that was brought in sick, how do you not see him anymore? And then he said to me, well, I can't discuss a lot with you, but I bet you, if you go back home now, you'll see your husband in the house. I said, yeah. So I was like, no. Then I started calling my husband's phone. My husband was not picking. Then the doctor said, go home. Your husband will be home. So I also told them, okay, I didn't know how to go back home because I'm new here. So they showed me what to do and all that. So I got in the bus. When I was going home, I was still very worried. So I got down, called a taxi. The taxi picked me. When I got home, my husband was sitting in front of his computer desk with a bottle of beer. I froze. I was like, how did you get home? And how could you even leave me alone in the hospital? I'm new to this town. So then I said to him, no, look, this is not normal. Why did you leave the hospital? We went to the hospital because we were very sick. Then he said, yeah, those doctors cannot do anything to me. They can't help me. I was just sitting there and I got tired. I said, okay, and why didn't you take your wife with you? To be honest, before we left the hospital, I was confused. So one of the nurses that was trying to show me how to commute from the hospital back to the house, I think she saw how worried I was, so she was like, your husband has problem with alcohol. That was all she said.
There you have it, guys. So that's a video of Rosie from Ghana. So this Ghanaian woman met a German man online. They hit it off so instantly. They talked for 2 years, getting to know each other, and eventually they decided to take things to the next level, marriage. She was excited, packed her bags. In 2012, Rosie, a lady from Ghana, left everything she knew behind, her home, her language, her community. She packed her hopes, her dreams, and moved to Germany to be with a man she loved. At first, it felt like a fairy tale, the kind of beginning every love story dreams of. He was charming, attentive, warm. You can imagine the dinners, the laughter, the promises. Life felt like a dream, but it was just a mask. Behind the smile, he was hiding something quite dark, an addiction. It started subtly, enjoyed each other's company, and even had a little tradition. They would have a few beers together, 2, maybe 3, but something was always off. He'd become too drunk too quickly, too unpredictable, too volatile. Rosie tried to ignore it. She told herself that maybe she was just imagining things, maybe she was just overreacting, but the gut feeling wouldn't just go away. One day, while he was out, she searched the house. That's when she found the truth. He had been filling empty beer bottles with hard liquor and disguising it as beer, pretending, hiding, and lying. When she confronted him, everything shattered. The man she thought she knew disappeared, and the nightmare began. He became aggressive, then violent. The safe place became a battleground. She was trapped because at this time, no job, no language, no family, no support, just fear. The stress began eating her from inside out. She started losing hair, a silent scream from her body, breaking down the weight of hidden pain. 12 long years of silence, of wearing a smile in public, of crying behind closed doors. But today, Rosie is speaking out. She isn't sharing this story for sympathy or attention. She's sharing it to heal, to be free, and to help others break their silence too. Because pain thrives in silence, and healing begins with truth. This isn't just a story about trauma. It's a story about survival, about strength, about breaking free. To the woman behind this story, we see you, we hear you, and we stand with you. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are a survivor. Rosie moved to Germany for love. She had no idea what she was walking into. But today, she's walking out, not as a victim, but as a woman claiming her voice, her life, and her future. Rosie is telling her story not for attention, but for connection, because someone out there needs to hear it. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's someone you love. Please watch, listen, and share. This could be the story that saves someone. All right, guys, we have come to the end of our today's video. If you found this video informative, please don't forget to share, like, and comment down below. If you're not yet following my page or subscribe to my YouTube channel, don't forget to subscribe, turn on the post notification bell so that each time I upload a brand new video, you are notified. See you later, guys.